this is Nisma. I'm going to talk about the Journal of Psychopharmacology. I'm going to start with the purpose of the study I chose. The purpose of the study was to examine the effectiveness of benzalphenidae in treating ADHD because it's considered the main treatment for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. As we all know that ADHD is much harder in older than children because it has a lot of bad consequences like losing a job or depression or like social problems. Some researchers also find that it can cause major depressive disorder, and that's why the researchers collected meta-analysis data in order to like come up with an idea about the MPH as the treatment of ADHD. They wanted to compare between the MPH and the placebo medication in order to know whether the MPH is effective in treating ADHD or not. They started their collection of meta-analysis by two ways. They first started with collecting the abstracts of the studies that are relevant to their observation, and then after this they had the full access to the complete versions of these studies. After collecting those studies, they included the relevant studies and they excluded the irrelevant ones. They made sure that most of the studies have the two designs for treating patients, which is crossover design and parallel group studies. Crossover design is about having two groups. One of them will take MPH first and then the placebo medication, and the other group takes placebo medication first and then the MPH. The parallel group studies mainly about having two groups as well. One takes MPH and the other takes placebo medication. The results were astonishing. They found that one of the studies had the placebo effect make it higher positive effect than MPH. Other studies showed that placebo effect has no effect. In fact, maybe it has some bad consequences. Other studies showed that dexamethylphenidate is more effective than MPH in small doses. The researchers concluded by saying that MPH is not effective in treating ADHD. They didn't find much difference between the self and experts' observation because most of the study relied exaggeratedly on the experts' observation, and that's why they focused more on the studies that has the self, like the patients themselves talking about their symptoms. They found in the parallel group design that there's no difference between the MPH group and the placebo group. They concluded by recommending that there should be more studies about MPH in order to know whether it is effective in treating ADHD because it's considered from a long time ago as a main treatment for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They also recommended that researchers should examine other alternatives such as amphetamine and dexamethylphenidate in order to know whether they are effective in treating ADHD or not. The researchers made sure that most of the studies they used were different in the measures and the method and the duration. The original researchers have done it, and that's why we conclude that there is no effect for the MPH on the ADHD, and there should be more further studies in order to know whether it is effective or not.
In conclusion, and based on the meta-analysis that we used, we concluded that stimulants, non-stimulants, methylphenidate, mixed amphetamine formulations, and dexamphetamine are the most effective treatments for medications used for the treatment of ADHD. However, stimulants are considered the first preferred medication for the treatment of ADHD. Now we are supposed to be in class, but because we're not in class, If you have any questions, you can send us emails and we will, of course, reply you. Now we have 3 MCQ questions. The first one for you to answer. The first one is, which of the following is not considered a causal factor in the development of ADHD? You have answers. The first one is environmental factors. The second one is genes. The third one is non-stimulants. Answers will be posted on the last slide of the presentation. The second question is, which of the following is not considered a medication for ADHD? The first answer is stimulants, the second one is non-stimulants, and the third one is ARIAs. The third question is, which of the following is not mentioned in that presentation to be a medication for ADHD? The first one, mixed amphetamine formulations, the second one is dexamphetamine, the third one is Zovirax. The fourth question is, which of the following is considered the first preferred medication? A, stimulants, B, non-stimulants, C, Adol Extra. Thank you so much for